people who are joining, another 1 or 2 minutes will wait. So I think it's time for us to start. Good morning, Namaskar. I am Madhusudan Reddy, Counselor Science and Technology at the Embassy of India in Berlin. I welcome you all to this Azadi ka Amrit Mahotsav event. I thank you all for taking your time to join this particular event. It's called Indo-German Cooperation in Science and Technology as part of Azadi ka Amrit Mahotsav. It is this Mahotsav, the celebration is to actually celebrate and commemorate 75 years of India's independence and the glorious history of the people, culture, and achievements of our country. In this regard, we have science and technology landscape in India and Germany represented here today. As per the program, I would now have His Excellency Ambassador Parvatarini Harish speech. Unfortunately, he couldn't attend this meeting because he has an important, another important engagement at around this time. But he has kindly given his video message, which we will just play it in a minute. So, Ambassador Harish joined the Indian Embassy as Ambassador of India to the Federal Republic of Germany in November 2021. Previously, Ambassador Harish was Additional Secretary in Economic Relations in the Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India, wherein he led the Economic Diplomacy Division that was dealing with bilateral cooperation, economic relations of India with other countries. Previous to that, Ambassador Harish, who is a 1990 batch of Indian Foreign Service, was was at Indian missions in Cairo and Riyadh. He worked in East Asia and External Publicity Divisions in the Ministry of External Affairs. And for 5 years, he was Joint Secretary and Officer on Special Duty to the Honorable Vice President of India. He was Consul General of India in Houston, USA during July 2012 to March 2016. And then he was previously was the Ambassador of India to the Socialist Republic of Vietnam from 2016 to 2019. Ambassador Harish is a gold medalist mechanical engineering graduate from Osmania University College of Engineering, Hyderabad, and has studied at the Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta. Now I will have Ambassador's message.
Namaskar. We meet today to mark 75 years of India's independence and 70 years of India-Germany diplomatic relations. These are important milestones in our relationship and in India's journey towards growth and development. But this is also a good occasion for us to take stock of one element of our vibrant partnership, of academic collaboration, collaboration between our researchers, scientists, and technologists that is decades old. Friends, the Intergovernmental Agreement on Cooperation in Scientific Research and Technological Development dates back to May 1974. In the decades since then, this has emerged as a vibrant element of our bilateral cooperation and has taken many institutional forms that have not only survived but thrived and led to immense exchanges between our academia, scholars, researchers from scientific institutions. We have established the Indo-German Science and Technology Center in 2010 as a bilateral flagship initiative of our governments to promote a research partnership of industrial relevance. We have promoted basic and applied science, research and technology collaborations, public-private partnerships, and have fostered innovation and nurtured contacts between our young and mid-career scientists and technologists over the years. We have also facilitated industrial exposure for our PhD students. We have paired early career fellowships in applied research, and we have also given a lot of assistance to women scientists and technologists in encouraging them to be part of our overall collaborations in science and technology. Let us for a moment think of the huge impact this has had on India's developmental journey and in fostering innovation and bringing about a vibrant higher education sector in India over the last 50 to 70 years. Today, the world we see is very different from the time when the original agreement was signed in 1974. New global challenges have emerged, and these present opportunities too to our scientists and researchers to look for solutions that not only work for our two countries, but also for the entire world and especially the developing world. The Global Water and Climate Adaptation Center, which we have established through our mutual collaboration, has been immensely successful in bringing about scientific training of future environmental leaders. It is institutions like this that will set out and make a significant contribution to tackling global challenges with excellent research and innovative teaching. We also must take note of the immense contributions made by the Indo-German Center for Sustainability and its promotion of fundamental and applied research, policy support and training in the areas of sustainable development with special focus on water, energy, land use, and development and waste management. The large number of graduate students from our two countries who have participated in their activities are testimony to their important contribution. I also wish to note the immense and fruitful cooperation that we have had between the Department of Science and Technology and the Max Planck Society. We have been able to create enduring institutions like the Indo-German Max Planck Center on Computer Science and the Indo-German Max Planck Center for Research on Lipids. The research undertaken by these institutions have made important contributions in the development progress of our countries. I also want to note that over the years, Indian participation in mega science projects such as the Facility for Antiproton and Ion Research and the Synchrotron Research have yielded immense benefits. The success of the Indo-German cooperation in synchrotron research at Hamburg has led to over 750 scientists from India visiting and conducting experiments, and have also led to a number of research publications due to this joint collaboration that we have had. Friends, the future path of scientific development and innovation in India is premised on our collaboration to face future challenges. India has given national priority and has put in place mission mode projects in areas like artificial intelligence, quantum computing, e-vehicles, biodiversity, biosciences and human health, deep ocean exploration, a national hydrogen mission, and we look forward to our line ministries, our universities, and scientific institutes and funding agencies cooperating so that we can come forth with new productive results in these new and emerging areas. Germany has also been a very important partner for us in the global initiative of academic networks, where so far 125 courses were approved from Germany, of which 93 were already completed. We are also thankful for the many German faculty who have visited Indian academic and research institutions under the Visiting Advanced Joint Research or VAJRA scheme of the Government of India. We have had a number of proposals for Germany that have also been approved for promotion of academic and research collaboration under the SPARK scheme. Friends, as we complete 70 years of our diplomatic relations and India looks forward after 75 years of our independence, it's a good moment for all of you, important participants from both sides, who have long history, who know the history of our collaboration, and who can chart out the new areas in which we can channelize the energy of our scientists and of our technologists. I wish you very productive discussions in this session, and I want to thank all of you for participating and for Dr. Reddy for facilitating this interaction. Thank you very much and have a good day.
Thank you. Now we will have a presentation by now we will have the presentation, a video presentation by the president of the DFG, the pre-recorded message. Before that, we will have the Secretary Science and Technologies presentation, who could not unfortunately join this meeting. He has given us a record, video recording. We will just play. We are having this technical issues. We are trying to play Secretary DST, Dr. Chandrasekhar's message.
Mr. P. Harish, Ambassador of India to Germany, dear colleagues from Indian and German science promotion agencies, greetings to all of you. I welcome the panelists from all this and technology landscape in India and Germany on the occasion of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, the elixir of freedom celebrations, which is an initiative of the Government of India to celebrate and commemorate 75 years of India's independence and the glorious history of people, culture, and achievements. It's my pleasure to note that the Indo-German Science and Technology Cooperation, completing 50 years soon, having started under an intergovernmental agreement on the cooperation in scientific research and technology development, signed in May 1974. The Department of Science and Technology greatly values the association with the German Federal Ministry for Education and Research as partner and a nodal agency for overall coordination of the programs. Further to the agreement signed in 2010 to establish the bilateral Indo-German Science and Technology Center, IGSTC, a flagship initiative of the Government of India and the Government of Germany, BMBF, to promote research partnerships of industrial relevance. We opened a new office of the IGSTC in Technology Bhavan just yesterday. I sincerely hope with its new location in the national capital, center would be more approachable to all the stakeholders. We should make more endeavors to support the translation of research. In this connection, I appreciate the role of the Indo-German Science and Technology Center in success of the 2+2 model of funding to advance industrial research partnerships. Center has recently launched a new program, the PhD Industrial Exposure Fellowship for Young Researchers, paid early career fellowship in applied research, small immediate need grants, and the women involvement in science and engineering research programs. I sincerely hope these programs would help in human capacity building and in long term would provide us new ambassadors of the India-German scientific partnerships. I'm happy that the India and Germany scientific experts discussed 5 selected thematic areas of mutual interest related to artificial intelligence and its implementation in September last year. It would be logical to ask the Indian and German institutions to come up with joint projects in this theme as a follow-up to this important workshop. DST German Academic Exchange Services, DAAD, Project-Based Personal Exchange Program, PPP, have provided a good platform to promote mobility and short-term stays of researchers. Also, there are thematic centers such as the Indo-German Center for Sustainability, which is jointly supported by DST and DAAD with IIT Madras, with RWTH University Aachen, TU9 Consortium, and Christian Albertus Universität Kiel as participating institutions. Similarly, we have developed cooperation with Max Planck Society. I may mention about Indo-German Max Planck Center on the computer science and Indo-German Max Planck NCBA Center for Research on Lipids, which are doing very important collaborations. We may explore the possibility of more such joint Indo-German centers devoted to one specific scientific theme. In partnership with German Research Foundation, we are now going to promote establishment of international research training groups, which will provide long-term interinstitutional linkages on both our sides. India is also participating in some of the major scientific projects on German soil. This includes our participation in the FAIR project, synchrotron research. I'm also happy to so far over 750 scientists from 50 different Indian institutes have visited DESI for the experiments. We are also organizing Indo-German Frontiers of Engineering Symposia in association with the Alexander von Humboldt program. I'm also happy to mention here that I was privileged to be an Alexander Humboldt Fellow a few years ago. I would like to bring attention of all the stakeholders to consider cooperation in emerging areas of national priorities of both the countries, like artificial intelligence, quantum computing, e-vehicles, biodiversity, biosciences, and human health, including deep ocean exploration mission, national hydrogen mission, etc. And the excellent opportunities for mutually beneficial cooperation between India and German ministries, institutes, universities, and funding agencies. I'm very delighted to be part of this very important meeting. I wish all of you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your encouraging comments. Professor Srivari Chandrasekhar recently joined as Secretary DST. Before that, he was a former director at Indian Institute of Chemical Technology, where he's a renowned synthetic organic chemistry and has made significant contributions in diverse areas of organic chemistry, with special emphasis on chiral chemistry, total synthesis of biologically active natural products, and pharmaceutical products. Professor Chandrasekhar has introduced polyethylene glycol as a novel environmentally benign solvent medium. And he has developed several technologies for the synthesis of latest anti-tuberculosis drug called bedaquinone, anti-tumor and abortive drug misoprostol, antiplatelet molecule, and antidepressive compounds called sertraline, and drug for treatment of schizophrenia called asinapine. With these remarks, now we will move to the presentation by Professor Becker, the president of German DFG, German Research Foundation, who unfortunately could not join this meeting, but she has been kind enough to send her a pre-recorded message. We will have the message of Professor Becker in a short while.
Dear distinguished hosts and guests of this event celebrating the 75th anniversary of India's independence, dear colleagues in India and in Germany, it is both an honor and a pleasure to be asked to deliver the greetings and wishes for this event and thus for the future of Indo-German research collaboration on behalf of the German Research Foundation, the DFG. Collaboration in scientific research has been a key element of the friendship between our countries, and so it is appropriate to celebrate this special day in our group of researchers and research enabling institutions from India and Germany. I don't have to tell you that both our countries pride themselves on their scientific temper and scientific achievements. And I don't have to recall to you the many highlights in our scientific cooperation. You know about the early collaborations in theoretical physics between Bose and Einstein, the ties forged in the context of the foundations of IIT Madras. You know about the many links between Indian and German research agencies which have developed since. Let me just highlight two very new programs which reflect the strength of our scientific ties and about which I am particularly enthusiastic. There is a new program set up between the DFG and the Department of Science and Technology to fund Indo-German international research training groups, the so-called IRTGs. These large consortia will enable doctoral students not only to produce scientific work, but will carry with them the experience of Indo-German friendship. And there is a new agreement between the DFG and the Indian Council of Medical Research. Established during the pandemic, it will enable high-level joint projects. This agreement is very close to my heart, as I myself have collaborated with Indian researchers who have since become friends in medical research. With programs like this in mind, let me congratulate you on India's anniversary. Let me thank you for the cooperation and your friendship. Let me express my wish to continue in the same way, and let me wish all of you a productive session with many new insights and ideas for the future of Indo-German research collaboration.
Thank you, Professor Becker, for your nice and kind words. Now we will move on with the program with the participants. Now we have next Dr. S.K. Vashne, who is the head of International Cooperation Division at Science and Technology. Dr. Vashne is the advisor and head of International Cooperation Division at DST, Government of India. Previously, he worked as Consular Science and Technology at Embassy of India in Moscow. And he has been contributing to promotion of international scientific cooperation as well as scientific industrial cooperation. Mr. Vashne is actively involved in financial planning of the group as well. Mr. Vashne is Indian co-chair, governing body, Indo-German Science and Technology Center, member in Board of Directors, Global Innovation and Technology Alliance, and is a member, governing councils of Indo-US Endowment Fund, International Advanced Research Center of Powder Metallurgy, US-India Educational Foundation. He's also a member of the Board of Research Studies in Department of Geology, Aligarh Muslim University. He is a Life Fellow of Geological Society of India in Bangalore, Nepal Geological Society, Kathmandu. With these remarks, I would now request Dr. Vashne to give his opening remarks.
Thanks, Madhu. Namaskar to everyone. Congratulations to all for joining us in our moment of celebrations when we are celebrating 75th anniversary of independent India. And as ambassador and secretary, and also president of DAG, while we are celebrating, this is the time when we should take stock of what we have done what we could have done, what we can do. And the third part, what we can do is very important. And of course, what is required to be done would be based on our review, what we have done so far. So when I see this partnership, this is one of the very, very important partnership where we have tried to develop all possible elements of a scientific partnership that could have been. We are working on human capacity development. We are working on institutional capacity development. We are working on translation of research, trying to take fruits of scientific research to industries and to society. So, in a way, trying to cover all possible elements, but then because canvas is too wide, we need to see what all we can do at a given time, provided both governments are quite interested. But of course, always there is a limitation in terms of resources, and we have to see how best we can utilize available resources. Currently, from both sides, what I feel is that partnership is multi-institutional. Several agencies from India, several agencies from Germany are collaborating. As far as my own department is concerned, uh, we are working with DART, we are working with BMBF, we are working with DFG, and we have had discussions at various stages with Max Planck, with Helmholtz, with uh, Fraunhofer, and we would like to see that this partnership develops further. In a couple of years from now, we would be celebrating 50th year of our bilateral scientific partnerships. I think that is a next major milestone goalpost where we could collectively, uh, if we do it now, if we plan it now, we could take it and we can make something more significant, more obvious to display. And also, we have got Indo-German Science and Technology Centers. So several activities which we are unable to do, like there are several institutional based cooperation which could be considered. So I would suggest that we should explore uh, possibility of using Indo-German Science and Technology Centers platform for various activities. Of course, they started with the industrial R&D projects, but recently they have started a lot of programs. And Madan is here; he'll tell you much more details about the various capacity building programs they have started. But I would like that there are a lot of potentials. For example, our program we had with Max Planck could go few steps, and then we could not go further. So let us study why we could not continue with a good program like that. Similarly, with Fraunhofer, why we cannot develop interinstitutional connections. So if we could identify those possibilities and we could work upon them, then it would be really useful. And then I would like to suggest that there are several Government of India programs like Vajra, which allows best of global scientists to come and work in India as adjunct faculty. So Government of India provides $15,000 for the first month and $10,000 per month for the subsequent period. And we are expecting that the Vajra faculty would be in India for a period up to 3 months in a year for a duration of 5 years. So I would use this opportunity to invite German faculty to come and work in Indian institutions as adjunct faculty. And this program will provide you not only your trip to India, but also your student could come to your parent laboratory in Germany and work with you. Then we have got some program like Spark, where we are trying to connect our institutions, top 100 Indian institutions, with top 500 global institutions. And that would be in the form of interinstitutional linkages. So that is another program which is quite vibrant and quite available. And recently with DFG, we have signed a document for international research and training groups, for which calls are being invited, and calls are open round the year, but we would be considering them in two cycles, in February and in August. So I think there are a lot of opportunities available. We need to see what are the gaps and where we need to work. And once we know those gaps where we should work upon, both Ambassador and Secretary DST identified some areas. I would not like to repeat those areas, but these are some areas of national priorities from India, and we would uh, invite German scientists to consider their participation in those areas. So I'm looking forward excitedly for the day forward and see how the discussion goes. And maybe towards the end, we may have some mutual discussions, consultation, or if someone has any question, probably chat box we could be used, and we could have more discussion in the chat box also simultaneously. Thank you.
Thank you for your opening remarks, sir. Now we will move to Mr. Philip von Ritter, who is the Science Counselor and Head of Science and Technology Section in Embassy of Federal Republic of Germany in New Delhi. Mr. Philip von Ritter has been Science Counselor in the German Embassy since September 2019. In his capacity, he coordinates bilateral scientific programs and Indo-German science diplomacy. Previously, he worked in the Middle East section of the Federal Foreign Ministry in Berlin. Before joining the Foreign Service, he worked in a Catholic charity and in the Secretariat of the Economic and Financial Committee of the European Union. He holds a master's degree in politics and economics from Sciences Po Paris. Mr. Philip.
Madhu. Yeah. Thank you. It's a huge pleasure to be with you here. And I think it's a powerful symbol that as part of the elixir of freedom and of the 75 years of independence celebrations, we celebrate science cooperation. And as a science counselor in Delhi, I have the huge privilege every day to work and experience this scientific temper that I'm convinced the Indian people has deep in its DNA. And that's something I believe that our two people share, and I think that also explains why our scientific cooperation is so important for our bilateral cooperation and why it has borne so much fruit, and much has been said about that by His Excellency and the other speakers. And I think, Vajniji, you set the right tone. We have to be ambitious, looking towards the next anniversary, and we have to critically see what we have achieved, what perhaps has not been achieved, and where there are gaps, where we can most effectively fill these gaps, and where we can therefore really make meaningful and great new steps in our science collaboration. And I think that has been done all along the history of the science cooperation between our countries, which, if you want, you can date it back to centuries. But in the more recent history, perhaps it has started with assistance for setting up structures, as for IIT Madras, then many corporations in the basic research have been started, and these have gained in breadth. And then we, in the 2010s, we have a bit set more of a focus on applied research. And we have to think today, where is the field where we can really apply our limited resources, as Vajniji, you also rightly said, for the best possible effect. And I mean, my guess would be that one field would definitely be the collaboration with the startups, which in India are incredibly dynamic, and in Germany also contribute a lot to the knowledge economy that we strive to, and also to green technology programs getting set up in the private companies. But that's also only one guess, and I'm sure there's many other guesses among all these renowned participants in this meeting. All I can say is that we have a good setup for checking these new possibilities and for trying to set them in motion. We have a lot of science agencies from Germany with offices in India, and there's a lot of interest from the side of these German agencies to participate and to start new programs. We see it also with a high-level participation from some of these agencies in this meeting. And we thankfully have the government of India that is extremely open to science programs, to ambitious tech programs, and to the elements of it that pertain to international collaboration. And a great team at DST who are always open to ideas also coming from the German side. So I think we have an ideal setting. But as Vajniji said, we should stay ambitious, and there's a lot to do. So it's great to be here with all of you. And with this, I hand back to you, Madhu.
Thanks, Philip, for your opening remarks. And now we will have Dr. Sandeep Sarin, who is the Scientist G and Advisor, International Cooperation Division in Department of Biotechnology. Dr. Sarin has almost 3 decades of experience in public and private sectors. He is involved in strategic planning, design, and effective implementation of more than 30 programs to advance innovative scientific and technological research to address product development needs. And with this brief introduction, I would now request Dr. Sarin to give his opening remarks. Dr. Sarin, please.
Thanks, Madhu. Again, a good morning to all my colleagues who have joined from Germany, and good afternoon to all the colleagues who have joined from India. We have heard the overview from all the dignitaries. Dr. Vashne has already briefed about the collaboration between 2 countries. Philip has also explained about those. So I have basically made a presentation of collaboration and significant achievements of Indo-German collaboration since last 2 decades. Can I share a presentation?
Yeah, please. Yeah, we are able to. Yes, please go ahead. We can see the screen. Yeah.
Yep. So TPT has collaboration with 16 countries as of now, which is active, and Germany is at the center of the helms. We have a very strong and old association. Apart from this one, we have associations with multilateral organizations also, as well as with NGOs. The overall agreement, which is with the Germany, it's basically very old, dates back to 1974, agreement between the Republic of India and Republic of Germany. Then we have a separate agreement with BMBF and a separate agreement with DFG also, which we have signed in 2012, and the POC was further extended in 2000 till 2022 and likely to extend it further. With BMBF, we have basically given 6 calls as of now, and the first call was in 2006-07, and I have mentioned the areas here, and particularly the areas are primarily in the different domains of basic research or fundamental research. And under these 6 calls, which varies from structural biology, bioprocess engineering in 2009-10 to neurobiology, neurosciences, 2014-15, basically biodiversity, treatment of sewage, diagnostics, and 15-16 reusable biodegradable waste, 17-18 bioinformatics, then phytotherapy. The total proposals received was 160. So it's a massive collaboration of scientists from both countries, and the total projects funded as of now are 36. Again, with DFG, we have under collaborative research centers initiated a major project multi
There seems to be some technical glitch from Dr. Sarin's side. Let's wait for some more time. Dr. Sarin, can you hear us? Looks like we have lost Dr. Sarin's connectivity. Maybe we can have Dr. Sarin's presentation after some time when the connectivity is restored. Can we go ahead with the next presentation if Dr. Sarin's connectivity is not restored? So what we'll do is we'll go to the next presentation and then we'll come back to Dr. Sarin a little while later. So now we have Dr. Ulrike Wolter's presentation. Dr. Ulrike Wolter studied, who is the Deputy Head of Division Cooperation with Asia and Oceania at BMBF, Federal Ministry of Education and Research. Dr. Ulrike Wolter studied physics in Beirut and Hamburg. She was awarded a PhD scholarship from Studien Stiftung des Deutschen Volks and completed her PhD on solid-state lasers in 2015 at Hamburg University. Subsequently, she joined Leuphana University in Lüneburg, where she coordinated the recruitment of academic staff for the President's Office. In September 2019, Dr. Wolters took up a position at the BMB.
Discuss further about the collaborations for the near future.
Dr. Sarin, just what happened? We lost you for the last 2-3 minutes. If you don't mind, if you can go back to 2-3 slides, because we thought we lost your connectivity. Then we started like, yeah, one more slide. Yeah, one more slide. Yeah, from here. Sorry. Yeah. Please go ahead, Dr. Sarin. We can't hear you. We're muted. Yeah, please go ahead.
Am I audible now?
Yes, now you are audible. Please go ahead. This we have seen. This after this slide you are mentioning, and then our connectivity was lost. Please go ahead.
Okay, just a second. Station next slide move your. Am I audible?
Yes, please.
So I have already explained these kind of collaborations with BMBF in the last slide, and these are the collaborations with DFG. In 2016, under collaborative research centers, we initiated a major multi-centric project on rural-urban interface of Bangalore, a space of transition in agriculture, economics and society under coordination of US Bangalore. The phase 1 has been completed and phase 2 has been initiated recently. In 2018, we have given a first joint call with DFG in the area of fundamental research. There was a very good response from both the sides. We received about 51 proposals and 5 of those have been funded. In 2020, again, second call was given. We received 70 proposals and the evaluation of those is going on. So overall, if you see the impact of all these, we have 106 publications out of Indo-German collaborations. The technologies transferred are 8. There are 3 patents have been filed, and total projects sanctioned are 43. Some of the significant achievements of the collaboration are developed a microbial biodegradation process for bioremediation of persistent organophosphorus insecticides, developed an NGS-based gene panel for low bone density diseases. In the area of bioinformatics, a new method cyst diversity has been reported. Technology for conversion of cellulosic waste to high-value products has been developed, and biological route and bioprocess conditions have been successfully scaled up for production of alpha-omega diamines as well as alpha-omega amino acids using the sugars derived from agro-residual biomass. These value-added chemicals are very important for biorefineries and for economic scale-up of these. Thank you. And these are some of the significant achievements. And obviously, we would like to discuss further on the future collaborations with Germany and take this forward. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Dr. Sarin. Now I will request Dr. Ulrike, who is the Deputy Head of Division in BMBF, Cooperation with Asia and Oceania, to give her presentation. Sorry, Dr. Ulrike, we had a little bit of technical problem, but you can now go ahead. Dr. Ulrike?
Yes, I realized that. Thank you. Yes, dear representatives from Indian and German research institutions, and of course from the Indian and German embassies, dear ladies and gentlemen. I congratulate our Indian host on the special occasion of 75 years of independence. And I would like to thank the embassy for this event that celebrates our partnership in science and technology and innovation. India and Germany have been linked by a strategic partnership for many years. And for me, it's a pleasure to see so many of our Indian partners today with whom we have had very trustful and fruitful cooperations for many years now. With DST, for example, we have initiated the Indo-German Science and Technology Center almost 12 years ago. And IGSTC's core mission is the support of research and development projects that are oriented on actual application and therefore involve industry partners. The center is very unique to BMBF. As a bilateral structure. And we are proud to call IGSTC one of the lighthouse initiatives of our bilateral cooperation. Since its inception, the number of IGSTC's programs has grown significantly. And every year, BMBF and DST each provide up to 4 million euros to the center. And I'm happy that IGSTC Director, Mr. Madan, is here today, and he will surely expand on the activities of the center. We have also funded Indo-German research projects for many years with 2 other departments under the MST. With the Department for Biotechnology, we have financed projects in thematic areas such as bioinformatics and health research, or biotechnology for the reuse of biodegradable urban waste. And in health-related research, we have also found a partner in the Indian Council of Medical Research. With ICMR, we have funded projects in areas such as antimicrobial resistance or effects of climate change on health, or research for a healthier life. And with both DBT and ICMR, we started with comparably small mobility projects, which have over the years grown to full R&D projects over time. And we're looking forward to continue with these lines of funding and find new topics that are interesting to scientists in both countries. Another natural partner for German researchers are the various institutes under the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. The CSIR institutes reflect the strong interlinkage between research and industry that German scientists are also interested in. And we can see this in our IGSTC 2+2 projects, where many of the academic partners in these projects are actually CSIR researchers. And with CSIR, we have funded workshops and projects in various fields, such as new materials and sustainable water supply and wastewater management. I'm also very pleased to see many German organizations present here today, and many of them are coordinating their efforts under the roof of the Deutsches Wissenschafts- und Innovationshaus in New Delhi, the DWIH. And India is one of only 6 countries with such an umbrella representation for the many actors of the German science, research, and innovation landscape that are present in India. And once we have heard the representatives from the different organizations that joined us on this special occasion, I am sure that we will reach one conclusion, that there are many good reasons to intensify Indo-German cooperation. If we want to tackle global challenges, such as climate change or a scarcity of natural resources or pandemics, we need to team up. And India is a valued partner for German researchers. And we have seen India's scientific output increase over the last years, and a large number of high-quality research institutes offer inspiring opportunities. And that is why I'm pleased to see the collaboration between both countries continue to grow and prosper. And I'm looking forward to today's presentations and discussions. Thank you.
Thank you, Alok, for your remarks. Now we will have Dr. Mukesh Kumar we will have presentation from Dr. Mukesh Kumar, Head International Health Division from Indian Council of Medical Research. Dr. Kumar did his Masters and PhD in Biological Sciences from Agra University. He has a career spanning more than 3 decades in multiple roles of researcher and science administrator. With his wide experience and abilities, he has earned the reputation of an inspiring knowledge manager in domains of science and technology. Dr. Kumar is a career ICMR scientist and also made significant contributions in his earlier role as director of the Indo-French Center for Promotion of Advanced Research, a binational center of Government of India and Government of France. Dr. Kumar is Scientist G and Head of International Health Division at ICMR headquarters in New Delhi. He has represented India as member in various joint working groups, joint steering committees for discussions, review and joint evaluation of bilateral and multilateral programs between India and other countries coordinated by ICMR and various departments and ministries and agencies. Dr. Kumar also supervises the program like International Fellowships of ICMR and is the member secretary for Health Ministry Screening Committee for consideration of international collaborative research projects in health research. May I now request Dr. Kumar to give his presentation. Dr. Kumar. Dr. Mukesh Kumar. Dr. Mukesh Kumar, you can please go ahead. Can you please present? There seems to be some technical. I can see.
Good afternoon to everybody for my introduction. Yeah, am I audible? Can you no?
Yes. Now we can. Please go ahead.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So very good afternoon to everybody. Yeah, very good afternoon to everybody. And Dr. Madhu, thank you very much for organizing this meeting and also my introduction given to all the participants. Greetings from ICMR to everybody. Respected Ambassador of India to Germany, respected Secretary DST, Dr. Chandrasekhar, all other officials, experts, colleagues for promotion of collaboration between India and Germany. I'm extremely delighted to be part of this meeting today, and I'm sure that this meeting is going to be a milestone, and this is first kind of this kind of meeting. ICMR has a number of collaborative arrangements with German organizations. There are 3 in numbers. The first one, which has been talked about a lot, right from 1974, the ICMR, under that SNT agreement, ICMR came in contact with German partner. That time it was GSF, later changed to DLR, and now with BMBF. So this special arrangement is going on since 1976. And under this program, many areas of collaborative research in health sciences, health research have been identified by both the organization, BMBF and ICMR. As rightly pointed out by the previous speaker from BMBF, that there are several areas which have been covered under this. And there have been number of call for proposals between ICMR and BMBF. If I look at the last 5 years, there were 2 calls which were launched jointly by ICMR and BMBF. The first one in last 5 years was in 2016, when several areas were included, including maternal and child health, as well as the climate change on health. And there were 5 projects which were approved and funded by both the sides. And then subsequently, there was another call in 2019 in AMR, which is antimicrobial resistance, where another round of 5 proposals were funded. There were, large number of projects which were received. The 5 were selected and were funded, and is still going on successfully. And if I look at the data, that how many projects which have been funded under this program, ICMR BMBF, in last 20 years, more than 80 projects have been funded. And all these 80 projects have led to several publications. A number of PhDs have come out, number of transfer of technologies has been reported, and a number of exchange visits from both sides. So these are success story of ICMR BMBF collaboration. Later on, in 2006, the ICMR came in contact with another partner called Helmholtz Association, when the then Prime Minister of India, he was there in Hanover in 2006. In Hanover, at that time, an MOU was signed between ICMR and under this MOU, an Indo-German Center for Infectious Disease, we called it IG-ISCID, was launched, and it was housed in headquarters. Mainly, the partner was Helmholtz, and the institute as the Brunswick Institute, which is Azadi. And the center was working for 6 years, from 2007 to 2013. And later on, this MOU between Helmholtz and ICMR was renewed in 2013. And now, second time, the AMR was identified under this program, and this MOU was again renewed in 2017. And then we decided that the AMR will be taken up jointly by BMBF and ICMR, and that was also a priority of Helmholtz. Now, we have further enhanced our collaboration with DFG. A MOU has been signed very recently, just 2 months back. And Dr. Matthias, I saw his name. Vaibhav Agrawal is there from DFG office here in New Delhi. We had 2 rounds of meeting in next 2 months. Means this was signed in December. So in January and February, we had 2 meetings of stakeholders. So areas which have been identified between DFG and ICMR are quite different. Like, for example, the neglected diseases and rare diseases, as well as toxicology. And so we have planned the joint activity. There will be a call for proposal, and for future areas. In fact, I would end with the recent development when the Madam Maria Flexworth, the Parliament State Secretary in BMZ, which is Federal Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development, came to ICMR in the month of September 2021. And 2 areas emerged for joint collaboration was One Health and TB vaccine. So we are working with this, and these 2 areas have been suggested to German side, and we are writing, or we are drafting, a concept paper and will be shared with German side. So the progress of Indo-German collaboration are reported periodically under Indo-German Committee on Science and Technology, which is coordinated by DST. So both countries have a strong will and a strong skill to work together in various areas of health sciences, and we are progressing accordingly. So thank you very much, and thank you for giving me this opportunity, Dr. Madhu and others. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Makesh Kumar, for your opening remarks. Now we will have a presentation by Dr. Ingrid Kuzman. She is the Deputy Head Division of International Affairs at the German Research Foundation. Previously, from 1996 to 1998, she was heading the Bonn Coordination Office for the building of the SGC, followed by heading the DFG Coordination Office for the SGC until the year 2000. After the founding of the center, Dr. Kuzman was responsible for the cooperation with East Asia. In 2006, she additionally took charge of the scientific cooperation with Japan, being responsible for the phase of establishment of a new liaison office in Tokyo, which was opened in 2009. Since 2011, Dr. Kuzman is also responsible for the scientific cooperation with India, including overall responsibility for the DFG New Delhi office. In 2015, she additionally assumed responsibility for the cooperation with Australia Oceania. In addition to her responsibilities at the DFG head office, Dr. Kuzman was also the German director of the Sino-German Center from April 2014 to February 2019. Since 2019, she has been the director of the DFG Tokyo office. Additionally, Dr. Kuzman has returned to the SGC as German Director for Strategy and Administration in 2021, sharing responsibilities with the German co-director for funding. Dr. Kuzman, please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Reddy. Dear Dr. Varshney, Dr. Kumar, and Dr. Sarin, dear colleagues from India and Germany. Following our DFG President's words of greeting, I also feel honored to speak here today on the occasion of the 75th Jubilee of Indian independence. Professor Katja Becker has already said that science and technology play an important role in the relationship between India and Germany. It is very fitting to celebrate this jubilee in a group of agencies dedicated to science and to Indo-German science collaboration. Dear Dr. Reddy, thank you for including the German Research Foundation, for whom I speak on this round. As you know, we have conducted a number of joint programs with our Indian partners, the Department of Science and Technology, the Department of Biotechnology, the Indian National Science Association, and various councils involved in research funding. In your invitation, you suggested that each speaker in today's event should say a few words about the experience with past collaboration, but to focus on the future. More specifically, you invited us to view today's exchange as a brainstorming activity focusing on the question how we can employ the resources we build up together for the greatest benefit in the future. I think that this is an excellent idea. Let me try to follow your invitation. Together with our colleagues in various Indian partner agencies, we have conducted many joint activities, joint funding activities, and supported many excellent Indo-German research projects. Some were workshops and travels, kickstarting new long-term collaborations. Many more were full-fledged research projects. Let me briefly mention one such project in particular, because it highlights what our efforts can lead to and perhaps points to the future. Together with the Department of Biotechnology, DFG is currently funding a research unit involving more than 20 PIs and even more postdoctoral and doctoral researchers, all working on the theme of social ecological systems at the interface of megacities and their rural surroundings. This project, located in Bangalore, Kassel, and Göttingen, and funded with about 7 million euros from the DFG with a duration of 6 years, has recently passed its mid-term review with flying colors and has been consistently producing excellent publications. I mention this coordinated project because, in my opinion, it marks a change in the quality of our cooperation, now allowing the joint support of larger consortia. In this context, I want to note how pleased we are at the Department of Science and Technology has recently accepted our invitation to embark on a joint funding program for Indo-German international research training groups, the IITGs, which have recently been mentioned this morning already. As Professor Becker has said, IITGs allow up to 3 cohorts of doctoral students to jointly work on their PhDs in the same field. Thus, in a time span of up to 9 years, around 70 dissertations are produced, along with many other articles and sometimes books of the PIs. This, then, is my first contribution to this brainstorming session. Alongside the support of standard projects, we think that it may be worthwhile to put additional efforts into the support of larger consortia quite generally. A second point I would like to make concerns the relationship between funding agency and researcher. We realize that the mandate of many of our partner funding agency is to foster research in particular areas. And so we understand what that calls for proposals often have to be targeted. However, in our experience, we often receive the best proposals when we leave a good degree of freedom to the invited scientists, rather than aiming for a particular area of research. Of course, I'm saying this as a representative of a funding agency whose mode of operation is a response mode approach, but I allow myself to invite my respected colleagues in this round to consider the point too. Whether national agencies' rules allow that we can organize some of our joint programs in a broader or even open way. Dear colleagues, instead of praising our existing funding opportunities, I intend to take a bold look into the future, hopefully after the pandemic time when we shall again be able to commute between our two countries and meet personally. Thank you very much for your interest. And with this, I would like to hand back to you, Mr. Reddy.
Thank you, Dr. Kuzman, for your remarks. Now we will have Mr. Madan, Director, Indo-German Science and Technology Center. He has taken over as the head of IGSTC in December 2020. He has been associated with development of marine instrumentation and autonomous underwater technology for oceanographic research at CSIR National Institute of Oceanography from 1991 to 2020. As a scientist and head of the Marine Instrumentation Department at CSIR NIO, he has contributed to the development of several marine robots, including autonomous underwater vehicle, Maya, remotely operated surface vehicles, and autonomous vertical profilers. He played a key role in transferring AUV and AVP technology know-how to industry and in commercialization of the same. He also played a major role in the capacity building and popularizing marine robotics in India. Mr. Madan has served as a science counselor at the Embassy of India in Berlin for 3 years, during which he ably facilitated, coordinated, and contributed to one second. Yeah. So here, during which he has ably facilitated, coordinated, and contributed to enhancing bilateral cooperation between India and Germany. Mr. Madan is the recipient of the Meritorious Invention Award from National Research Development Corporation, NDRC, Ministry of Science and Technology, New Delhi, for Autonomous Vehicle Profiler for the year 2010. He is a fellow of the Institution of Engineers, India. His research career following the Electrical and Electronics Engineering degree from REC, Caricut, and Master's degree in Power and Energy Systems from REC, Surathkal, has resulted in several publications in journals and conferences in addition to international patents. May I now request Mr. Madan, Director IGSTC, to give his remarks. Mr. Madan.
Thank you very much, Madhu. So nice to be here and happy to be with so many stakeholders of India on the same stage. So my talk is a little different. As the previous speaker from DFG said, yes, we are looking at the future of Indo-German Science and Technology Cooperation. I think we need to look at what's there lying ahead. So what I did was I looked at all the pillars of Indo-German Science and Technology Cooperation. It might be similar to other bilateral cooperations. So for the future, I think we need to revisit many of the pillars of the Indo-German Science and Technology Collaboration on a regular basis. So I took 4 pillars where we should keep looking at and trying to better things. And today I'll make a small presentation on those, followed by what IGSTC has to offer. So if you permit, I will go ahead with my presentation.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, I hope you're seeing my screen.
Yes, we can see that. Please go ahead.
Okay. So thank you once again, Madhu. So I talked about 4 pillars of the collaboration. I think we always need to look at resources, whether we have adequate of them. What is the approach? And when I say approach, where do you want to focus? What types of areas? And then the modes of implementation. And the third pillar would be areas of cooperation. And the fourth pillar, challenges. There are, as I said, many pillars, but I would look at these 4 initially. So when you look at resources, I think in India, the first thing you want to look at is funding resources, whether you have enough funds. And I think in India and Germany, we have adequate of these. And I think we have enough funds to fund the right programs. The next important thing is, do we have adequate infrastructure? Do we have adequate manpower? Yes, definitely. In India and in Germany, we have wonderful research organizations, a huge infrastructure. So that's also there. Then what about academia and the applied research universities? I think we have plenty of these in both the countries. So I think we need to revisit and see how these can be connected in future again and again, make new connections. I think that's the challenge. Then looking at areas of cooperation. Now, you can straight away say that we want to cooperate in these scientific areas. So I'll say areas of cooperation have to be looked at in two views. One is scientific and the other is strategic and political. So when I say strategic political, there might be many areas, but it could be government priorities. You want to meet sustainable goals. You need to look at societal relevance. Or you want to look at emerging technologies that can change lives today. I think everyone's talking about that. Or yes, and the generic one is you always look at the scientific areas of cooperation. I have put down 5 areas of cooperation, and which I think very apt for India and Germany. And if you look at one of them, the AI and machine learning, I think we had a talk about this, and they said, our secretary said we are coming up with some, maybe we should come up with future calls on this. So under AI and machine learning, you can have several areas. And so I think areas are plenty, but how do we focus? How do we look at the strategic and the political requirements and come to a real meaningful area is important. I think areas are plenty. The other important areas we need to, the approach. I think in the approach you have the focus and the implementation modes. So you could have different approaches. You could have applied industrial research, fundamental research, facility creation, technology development, but I think we need to revisit these and see where exactly each one of us is going to work and where your focus needs to lie on. We need to clearly differentiate whether your program is looking at inventions or innovations. And I think that's where the funding agencies are very, very, very clear, and I'm happy they are so clear about it. And then the modes of implementation. As we said, networking, do you want to give focus on networking or a combination of networking with innovations and joint projects? You want fast track opportunities, or do you want to encourage early career? And there are many more modes, skill development, and do you want to do capacity building or long-term research collaborations? I think these are important modes of implementation, which we look at the future and say, these organizations are doing this and these organizations are doing this. And in parallel, we get all these things together done. And a very important point is challenges. I think there are always going to be challenges in binational and bilateral programs and the collaborations, especially when you're talking about data protection and security. We need to look at this from the political, from the government, how we can thrash out this when we are having big programs, joint programs. How can we thrash out issues on IP sharing? If you're looking at sharing innovation and coming with innovative ideas, whose idea was it? How is IP going to be shared when the product reaches a commercialization stage? Very important. Again, interministerial areas. Now, there might be an area which is out of DST, BMBF, and DBT, and there might be another ministry involved. So these are challenges to involve other ministries, because I think it's becoming within ministries, and I think we need to connect many more together. The very regular challenges are enabling new team formation. We always see that the earlier teams and the experienced teams like to connect with each other. But I think the challenge is, how do you enable new team formation? How do you connect individuals at a very early stage so that they sustain for a long Indo-German collaboration? And visibility and outreach, although we have adequate social media today, it's still a huge challenge. How many people know about our programs? How do we know that it has reached every part, pan-India, pan-Germany? Who knows about IGSTC? I think these are big questions. And of course, visas, there are genuine problems. And I think these are always going to be challenges. And we need to keep this in mind and revisit this very regularly if you're looking at a long-term futuristic plan for the collaboration. My next slide, I go straight to the opportunities at IGSTC. I think many have already talked about IGSTC programs. We have the top program, the 2+2 projects, where these are applied research projects. high funding. And this year, the call is on waste to wealth and sustainable packaging. So, and we also extend these projects by 2 more years. They are 3-year projects. We extend by 2 more years with adequate funding to take it to a commercialization or technology development level. This is the main program of IGSTC, around which we have put in many programs to support applied research through IGSTC. This is between India and Germany. So we have a direct industry participation. So we have funded 44 projects till now, and 6 more projects in the pipeline this year on additive manufacturing, soon to be announced. And so the next one is bilateral workshops. We have funded close to 27 workshops, which has involved more than 3,000 academicians, industrialists, and researchers from both countries. And this is basically providing a platform for substantive interactions between researchers, academicians, and industry. It's proven very healthy, and this is mainly also helps us matchmaking and to network and find new partners. Recently, we announced the IGSTC Industrial Fellowships, and we are very happy that 20 fellows have been selected. They'll be visiting very brilliant PhD students, postdocs, who are going to visit industries and applied research institutes in Germany and share their knowledge, work with them, and come back with a good experience and continue Indo-German relationship for the long run. We have got this program on women involvement in science and engineering research. This helps women from Germany to work on a project in India by staying back at their home institute, and women from India to work with projects in Germany to work from the host institute. We have already received 3 applications. Although the Visor was recently launched, we have received 3 very good applications. We are also looking at how to tie up early career researchers, new pairs. How do we make new pairs? How do we introduce 2 people every month, every week? How do we get them tied up? And I think this is one program which we have recently announced. The call is open, and you can apply till end of March. Then there are a lot of inquiries, and recently we have approved 2 inquiries on this. There's small immediate need grants, and I think this is very important. Instead of waiting for the 2+2 call or waiting for the workshops to happen, if you have a small idea between India and Germany and you want to quickly go ahead and go to Germany and show it to a small team there, or the German team wants to come to India and show something here and take it ahead with the Indian team, this is there, which is going to be quickly processed, taking 2 months' time. So these are opportunities at IGSTC. Please visit our website. There's much more. And this is what we have done so far. This is how we have networked India and Germany through the IGSTC programs. Yesterday, we inaugurated our new premise at Delhi, and we'll be fully shifting there within this week. Thank you so much, Madhu.
Congratulations, Madan, for moving to the new premises. Thank you for your presentation and talking about the 4 verticals and 4 challenges and problems. And now we will go to the next speaker, Mr. Felix Kahle, who is the head of international relations at Max Planck Society. He's at the head office of Max Planck Society. He joined Max Planck Society in 1991 and worked in various positions in the international context. From 2008 to 2011, he was representative of the Max Planck Society in India and science counselor at the German embassy in New Delhi. Before joining the Max Planck Society, Mr. Kahle worked with the Siemens in Munich and for the United Nations Development Program in Mogadishu, Somalia. Mr. Felix Kahle holds a MA in Political Sciences and International Relations from LMU University, Munich. May I now request Felix to give his remarks.
Thank you, Madhu, and good morning to everyone, and congratulations on this important anniversary. Well, as you know, Max Planck Society runs some well-established programs with Indian partners. For example, Max Planck Centers, partner groups, mobility grants. We also have some 80 ongoing projects, and we count more than 1,000 Indian guest scientists at Max Planck Institutes. However, I will not dwell on this success story and close partnership any further. It is well known to everyone here today, and you will find, of course, more information on our website, and you're always welcome to contact us. Madhu, you invited us to brainstorm today with regard to future collaboration perspectives. I shall try to do so. At MPG, we feel that notwithstanding the success story that we have, that we share, we need to identify new formats of cooperation, such as strategic, high-profile, large-scale projects like those that MPG has, for example, with China. Though we tried initiating this over the past years, this has not come about. And collaboration, we feel, has maybe been a bit more stagnant in the past years. Why is this? In order to get a better understanding, we recently had a bibliometric analysis done on assessment of research in India by our in-house expert, Dr. Lutz Bornmann. I find the results extremely interesting and relevant for our pursuant discussion, and so I wish to share them with you briefly. The study deals with bibliometric assessment of Indian research, with an additional focus on measuring the excellence of research. And as you all know, excellence, scientific excellence, that is what the Max Planck Society always looks for in its partnerships. The empirical analysis, amongst others, addresses two relevant levels on which I shall focus, namely a comparison of India with other countries, and secondly, a comparison of research institutions within India. The results of this analysis regarding the comparison of India with other countries. In the first step of the statistical analysis, India was compared with other countries with regard to the annual growth in number of publications from 2003 onwards. The other countries selected for comparison purposes are China, Russia, Germany, Australia, and the US. The results show the highest level of dynamism in China, followed by India, which also shows very high growth rates in publications. The slowest and lowest growth rates can be seen for the US and Germany. Interestingly, the strong dynamism of Indian publication output does not seem to be triggered by international collaboration. Since 2003, less than 20% of the papers published annually have been published with co-authors from other countries. Now, a high percentage of papers without international collaboration is the result of frequent national collaboration or a sizable amount of research activity without any collaboration at all. An analysis was therefore made regarding these two factors. The results show at least 60% of papers have been published at least 60% of papers published within the Indian research system have been published without any collaboration at all, meaning not even based on inner India collaboration. This is very different from collaboration activity of other countries where collaboration plays a greater role than in India, and where, in contrast to India, the trend is towards both more national and international collaboration. Further analysis indicates that Indian papers would strongly benefit from international collaboration in particular, whereas Indian papers without collaboration obtained a rather low level of citation impact, actually significantly lower than the global average. The papers with international collaboration are significantly above the global average. The relatively low citation impact of Indian papers published without collaboration suggests that the citation impact of Indian papers is low in general, since many papers have been published without collaboration. Now, secondly, looking at research-focused institutions and universities in India, the analysis tries to answer the question of which institutions in India are characterized by high-level research activity. The analysis is initially focused on institutions with at least 1,000 papers published between 2015 and 2019. Analysis shows 21 Indian institutions amongst these institutions with at least 1,000 paper with the highest ranking, meaning top 1%, with more than 100 highly cited papers. The most highly cited papers, by the way, were published by the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. With this number of highly cited papers, the institution was able to publish more highly cited papers than can be expected. Interestingly, based on the underlying ratio, all other institutions except one are also able to produce more highly cited papers than can be expected. Although Indian research in general can be characterized by low frequency of highly cited papers, this means that the few Indian institutions that do publish many highly cited papers have a considerable research capacity. This, by the way, is especially the case for the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, with a clear profile in physics and astronomy. Conclusion. First, the Indian publication output shows a high level of dynamism with a considerable increase seen in the recent years. The high level of dynamism does not seem to be triggered by intensive international collaboration. However, despite the high dynamism, India has a constantly low percentage of highly cited papers, even below the expected value of the 1% best. Consequently, a strong effort must be put into increasing collaborative publications, both on an international level in general and within the Indo-German context specifically. And second and finally, although Indian research has published relatively low level of highly cited papers, the few Indian institutions that have published many highly cited papers show evidence of a considerable research capacity. Consequently, these institutions stand out as potentially relevant partners for enhanced Indo-German collaboration. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Felix, for your nice presentation about the bibliometric analysis. Now we will move to the next presenter, Dr. Anand Mohit, who is the Principal Scientist, International Science and Technology Affairs Directorate at the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, New Delhi. Dr. Anand Mohit did his BTech in Chemical Engineering and Information Technology. It's a dual degree from Vellore Institute of Technology, and earned his MTech in Advanced Petroleum Science and Technology and PhD degree in Engineering for his work on hydroprocessing route to renewable transportation fuels from CSIR, Indian Institute of Petroleum. Following his master's, Dr. Anand joined CSIR, Indian Institute of Petroleum, as a scientist in 2011 and worked for developing technologies for renewable ground and aviation fuels for civilian and strategic sectors. In 2020, he joined International Science and Technology Affairs Directorate at CSIR headquarters as a principal scientist, where he is coordinating specific bilateral and multilateral S&T cooperation programs of CSIR. In addition, he is coordinating the Global Indian S&T Diaspora Initiative of CSIR. May I now request Dr. Anand Mohit to give this presentation? Dr. Mohit, please.
Thank you, sir. Firstly, I would like to thank Dr. Felix for his views about CSIR, and I would like to share a presentation if I'm allowed. May I? Yes.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Is my slides visible?
Yeah, please go ahead. It is visible.
Yes.
Just now this is fine.
Yes, thank you. I am from CSIR. Warm greetings from Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. Firstly, before beginning my presentations, on behalf of CSIR, we would like to thank our embassy at Berlin for organizing this important meeting for discussing the present status and future directions of India-German S&T cooperation. I am humbled and very thankful to the organizers and for this opportunity, and Dr. Ramaswamy Bansal, my head international. Dr. Rama, due to some prior pressing commitments, is unable to join us today. I will be representing her and CSR, and she sends her profound regards and best wishes. Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, an autonomous organization, is a conglomeration of 38 research institutes spread across India. We are headed by Honorable Prime Minister of India, who is the President of CSIR, and Honorable Minister of Science and Technology as the Vice President of CSIR. Dr. Shekhar C. Mande, the President Director General of CSIR, is also the Secretary of Department of Scientific and Industrial Research, our parent department. We were born in 1942 and have a pan-India presence, and is the largest industrial R&D organization in India. And CSIR is advancing the knowledge, fueling economic growth, and catering to the strategic needs of the country for achieving societal welfare. We have a multidisciplinary character with state-of-the-art facilities and skilled manpower, with a nationwide presence and strong connect with the industry. We have now aligned our efforts by following a thematic approach for integrating multidisciplinary complementary talent and infrastructure for addressing unified goals of the country's need through R&D. We have regional connectivity with the state governments and industry, and our focus groups working in all domains of S&T, be it aerospace or minerals mining, agricultural, civil infrastructure, chemicals, energy, ecology, healthcare, technologies. You name a sector and CSIR has its presence in that, with more than 3,200 active patents and over 900 technologies to offer. There have been several initiatives and developments through our last 80 years contributing to India's sustainable development. We have been instrumental in supporting and developing Indian industry, be it in the case of technology denials, in pandemics, or through innovative technological solutions. Past 80 years, CSIR has contributed to developments in all domains, be it underground mining, by mining technologies or controlled blasting, or on ground, be it Swaraj tractor or hydrogen fuel cell buses, be it on air, like light transport and combat aircrafts, Saras and Tejas, be it on water, like oceanographic research vessels. We have been contributing to the energy, chemicals, petrochemicals, and fuel sectors by paraffin wax units or bioaviation fuels. We have been also contributing to instrumentation sector and definitely to the affordable healthcare sector by developing technologies for generic, repurposed, and new molecule-based drugs and genomics. CSR has also developed technologies for nutritional foods and many reference materials. And some of the key initiatives are shown over here, like Green Hydrogen Initiative, presently ongoing, Carbon Capture Utilization and Sequestration Initiative, Waterfall All, Sickle Cell Anemia, and Aroma and Floriculture Mission. With this background, CSR has a long-standing collaboration with several leading German academic research funding organizations. CSR was the first and the only Indian agency to connect Indian research scholars with the German scientists through our German academic exchange services, BRD. Our agreement signed in 1965, and since then, we have established several other collaborations. In 1974, special arrangement with the KFA, now Forschung Zentrum Zulich, cooperation in the field of scientific research and technological developments being handled by BMBF. In 1982, by German Aerospace Center, DLR, for cooperation in the field of aeronautical sciences. And more recently, in 1994 and 2019 with Fraunhofer for scientific and industrial cooperation. And we have signed an MOU over there. We have 2018-19 could be called as the year of CSR German collaborations, because many CSR directors visit Germany, the German universities and institutes for many topical interactions, their major facilities and discussions in different domains. We are thankful to our Foreign Office of Germany for inviting many of our directors for discussions on healthcare sector. We have been, in addition to our corporate level bilateral programs, CSR India also participates in the bilateral programs with German institutions, and CSR institutes have bagged more than 50 projects and have also developed a very active institute-specific collaboration with the German peers. These have led to several research projects, joint workshops, publications, patents, exchanges for capacity building and knowledge sharing. We are very much thankful to our German peers who, through cooperation in marine sciences, earth sciences, chemical engineering, electronics, healthcare, aerospace, have left to many infrastructural development, such as research vessels, oceanographic research vessels, Sagar Kanya, deep drilling rigs, standards, beneficiation of sulfide ores, and also our aerospace, and many more. Likewise, just to give you a more recent example, with Fraunhofer, we are focusing our collaboration for industry-driven innovation and research projects, be it for specific application or technologies relevant to the industries, that is TRL4 and above, or for the futuristic technologies and their applications, that is TRL3 and below. We would like to align our future collaborations with German peers focused on developing specific applications of technologies and products, keeping in view sustainability and environment, and jointly and synergistically working as applicants for the industry. To meet these objectives, the strategy which we follow is identifying industry-specific needs, both individually and jointly, understanding the topical strengths of our partners for mutually agreed joint technological developments, and then developing technologies, innovation, and research projects to address the needs of the industry and the market. We believe CSR has a strength of innovation, economic development, and low-cost manpower. We have a strong industry network and access to the Indian market with local point of contact for the German technologies. Complementary, the German institutions can provide strength in precision and advanced machinery, a global connect, and location-specific point of contact for the Indian technologies. Together, we can empower the global industry and deliver cost-effective solutions. We welcome our German R&D and industrial partners to join hands with CSIR in our missions for achieving sustainable development goals and conserving the environment. We thank you, and please visit us to our website at www.csir.res.in, where our technology showcase and CSIR COVID-19 and other technologies have been showcased. For your convenience, our institutes in biological, engineering, chemical, physical, and information sciences is available over here. And you can reach out to at Dr. Ramaswamy Bansal at rsb@csir.res.in, also at Anandem, ANANDM @csir.res.in. Thank you. Can you, yeah. And I would also like to request Dr. Felix for if we can have a copy of the report of the analysis. That'll be really helpful for us. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Anand Mohit, for your presentation. Now we'll move on to the presentation by Helmholtz Association. Now we have with us Ms. Alexandra Rosenbach. Unfortunately, Dr. Chiliuti, the Director of Communications and External Affairs at Helmholtz Association, could not make it. Now we will have presentation by Ms. Alexandra, who has a Master of Art degree in Media Culture, and she is responsible for development and implementation of the Helmholtz International Strategy and specific country strategies, conceptualizing and administering funding instruments for international collaboration within the Helmholtz Association's initiative and networking fund. She is presenting Helmholtz at key events nationally and internationally with a special emphasis on science diplomacy. She's also involved with liaising with the Helmholtz centers regarding international activities and providing expertise and guidance. I now request Ms. Rosenbach to make her presentation.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here today. As you already said, unfortunately, Efrosini Chiliotti is ill. She sends her warmest regards and regrets she can't be here today, but I will do my best to give a very brief overview of Helmholtz's current research priorities and also our focus on collaboration with Indian partner institutes. Yeah, I will share my screen now. Hold on a second. Put it on full screen mode. I hope you can all see it. So
Yes.
just as a very brief recap, so Helmholtz has 6 research fields. We conduct research in the natural sciences. So we focus on energy, earth and environment, health, aeronautics, space and transport, matter, and information. And we have 18 research centers that are legally independent all over Germany that work in these 6 research fields. So here you can see the map of Germany with our 18 centers. Many have already been mentioned today, actually, because of course, many of those also have very intensive collaboration with Indian partner institutes. For instance, the DLR, the German Aerospace Center, was already mentioned today. That is also a member of Helmholtz. The Research Center in Jülich is a member of Helmholtz. The Helmholtz Center for Infection Research that was mentioned by the ICMR was also or is also a member of Helmholtz. The DESI in Hamburg, the Karlsruhe Institute of Technology, the KIT, and so forth. The list goes on and on. So you can see that some of our centers are monothematic and only work in one research field, and a lot of them are also multi-thematic. They are very large. They work in a multidisciplinary manner, like the DLR, for instance, like the Forschungszentrum in Jülich, or also the Karlsruhe Institute of Technology, to just name a few examples. Without further ado, very briefly, an overview of our internationalization strategy. I won't go into detail. It's also available as a download on our website, but our centers have hundreds and hundreds of bilateral partnerships worldwide. They are legally independent, as I mentioned, so they can enter into MOUs and collaboration projects at their own discretion. We have 4 foreign offices in Brussels, Moscow, Beijing, and Tel Aviv. There's no Helmholtz office in India. However, the Forschungszentrum Jülich has a liaison office in New Delhi that is hosted by the DWIH there. We also have a number of funding instruments available within our Helmholtz Initiative and Networking Fund that stimulate international collaboration, for instance, Helmholtz International Research Schools. And of course, our research infrastructures are also very attractive for guest scientists abroad. Helmholtz operates large-scale research facilities. For instance, right now at the GSI in Darmstadt, we are building FAIR, which was also mentioned earlier, of course. Then we also have research vessels like the icebreaker Polarstern that is operated by the Alfred Wegener Institute. XFEL is, of course, also a very important facility for free electron laser research just outside of Hamburg. So these infrastructures are, as you will, crystallization points for international collaboration, and they attract hundreds and hundreds of guest scientists every year, also from India. You can see here on the map, the deeper the color, the more scientists come from these countries. So you can already tell from the map that there are also many guest scientists coming from India. In total, from all over the world, we have more than 10,000 international scientists at the Helmholtz centers, and India also is one of the major sending countries. So I'm almost coming already to the end of the presentation because we don't have a lot of time. This is just a very brief snapshot of collaboration that we have with India. This doesn't do the whole range of projects justice, of course. This is just a very brief overview. As I mentioned before, India with 3.5% is a shareholder of FAIR, the facility for anti-proton and ion research that is currently built in Darmstadt. So this is also a very important facility for collaboration with India. And we have more than 100 Indian scientists working very intensively with colleagues from GSI, coming from 30 institutions in India. Also, Jülich has a lot of partnerships with Indian institutes in various fields, neurosciences, also high performance computing, so a very wide range of topics. We also have a lot of contacts within the environmental sciences with Indian partners. Listed here, just as one example, is the German Research Center for Geosciences in Potsdam that works very closely, for instance, with the National Geophysical Research Institute of India. And also, which was mentioned earlier by the colleague from ICMR, also the Helmholtz Center for Infection Research is quite active in India. For instance, they're hosting an Indo-European consortium for next generation influenza vaccine innovation. So these are just very brief examples. So this really doesn't do the whole list justice. I just want to emphasize that India is a prime collaboration partner country for many Helmholtz centers, and we are very interested in also nurturing this relationship further and expanding it. So on my very last slide, I'm just going to give you a very brief overview of current topics that Helmholtz works on that are across all of the centers of high relevance, from quantum to climate change research to energy systems of the future. Also, green hydrogen is, of course, a very important topic. AI, including subtopics such as digital health or autonomous vehicles. So these are just a very few examples of some of the forward-looking, innovative research topics that we are working on, and we would be interested in also discussing Indian collaboration perspectives with everyone here or other stakeholders in the future. And I would, of course, also be happy to share my slides with you later for future reference. And if you'd like to get in touch, feel free to note down my email address or take a screenshot, and I'm happy to also discuss matters further with you bilaterally. So without further ado, that was my presentation. Thank you very much for the moment.
Thank you, Alexander, for your nice presentation. Now we will move on to the next presentation from Alexander von Humboldt Foundation. We have Dr. Stefan Melisch, who's the Director of the Sponsorship and Network Department, the Alexander Humboldt Foundation in Bonn. His responsibilities include the general rules and guidelines for sponsorship of internationally mobile scientists and scholars, as well as the promotion of the worldwide Humboldt network. Dr. Melisch, after studying philosophy as well as Russian language at the Belarusian State University in Minsk, he worked as a research associate at the Institute of International Politics and Economics in Berlin, where he earned his PhD in political science. After a research stay at the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, SIPRI, supported by a postdoctoral fellowship of the Daimler-Benz Fund in the Donors Association for the Promotion of Sciences and Humanities in Germany, he joined Humboldt Foundation in 1991. In 2014, honoring his long-term contribution to furthering scientific cooperation between Germany and Russia, he was conferred the title of Professor of the University Honoris Causa by the National University Higher School of Economics in Moscow. He contributes his own research on the history of Russian philosophy in the German context. Most recently, he co-edited the special issue Philosophy of Right in Russia of the journal Russian Studies in Philosophy by Taylor and Francisco. May I now request Stefan Melisch to give his presentation. You should be happy that our secretary, Dr. Sivari Chandrasekhar, is a Humboldtian. May I request Dr. Melisch, please?
Thank you very much, Councillor Nandineni. Indeed, we are proud of Professor Chandrasekhar being a Humboldtian, and I actually could not but sending an emoji when listening to his talk. He was confessing himself being a Humboldtian. Yeah, thank you very much for introducing me. I'm prepared to give a joint presentation with my colleague, Katja Young, who is the director of and head of the Division Asia, so primarily responsible for our cooperation with India. Many thanks for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to contribute to this meeting. And I'm really personally happy to do this. I happened to travel to India a couple of times, and I must really say German-Indian cooperation in science is an important pillar of Germany's international cooperations. And this is true for the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation as well. Every eighth application in the Humboldt Research Fellowship Program that is run by the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation comes from India. So more than 2,000 fellowships were awarded during the last dozens of years. And at the moment, we count 1,400 alumni as part of the worldwide Humboldt network in India. And as we heard, Srivari Chandrasekhar being one of them. By the way, he is, until recently was doing research, only being appointed in December last year, secretary of the Department of Science and Technology. And last year he also was awarded the CSIR Technology Award in the category of biosciences, and especially for his contribution to the development of the COVID-19 vaccine, Covaxin. So this is just an example which I take by chance out of thousands. Yeah, an example how Cambodians, people supported from India, contribute in really societally relevant fields to science and the development of our societies. What he said himself is his motto of his research is affordable health for all. So I think this is also important to underline. Research is not just research to advance science and knowledge, but also to support the development of our society. I would like to follow up Mr. Mathan, the director of IGSTC, who spoke about the 4 pillars of cooperation. So the Humboldt Foundation would like to add a 5th pillar, which means it's about the people advancing science. So if you have money, structures, concepts, this is very good. But you need the persons who make the difference in research. And this is what the Humboldt Foundation is striving to realize, yeah, to look for those people all over the world, and of course in this important place of research and science, which is India. So Katja Young, 3 minutes are over, I guess. I hand over to you, continuing our contribution. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Milich. I would also like to express my congratulations to the Republic of India for your 75th anniversary of independence. And as Dr. Milich has just pointed out, Alexander von Humboldt Foundation supports individuals, not programs. So our aim is really to build a high quality international network of outstanding scientists. And ever since we've been established, or let's say re-established after the Second World War in 1953, Humboldt Foundation has sponsored 2,149 Indian scientists, including 30 research award laureates, and this is actually the 4th largest number in the world after after the United States of America, China and Japan. So the Indian network has always been very important for Alexander von Humboldt Foundation. But at the same time, on the other hand, we only ever supported 16 German fellows who spent research stays in India. So if you would ask me for to raise one question for today, one question that we have actually been thinking about a lot is how we can encourage more outstanding German scholars to conduct mid or long-term research stays in India to further deepen the friendship between our nations. This is really something that Humboldt Foundation would be interested in. Yes, and as Dr. Milich said, maybe he didn't mention that, sorry. Our foundation's hallmark has always been once a Humboldtian, always a Humboldtian. So remains a close partner for alumni throughout their academic life and provides them with a variety of flexible alumni support programs. And therefore, we stay in touch very closely. And our current alumni network in India consists of more than 1,400 alumni. And there are also 17 Humboldt alumni associations which facilitate networking between our alumni and the wider scientific community. So this is also something that we're very proud of, because the Indian Humboldt alumni associations are particularly active. They're very actively engaged. And we also have 4 ambassador scientists who disseminate information about Germany as a research location and our foundation programs. And they're based in New Delhi, Mumbai, Bengaluru, and Kolkata, so all over the country, basically. Yeah, I think maybe one last glimpse into the future, since you've also asked for that. I would like to mention that we, together with the Department of Science and Technology of India, actually host this and organize Indo-German Frontiers of Engineering Symposia biannually, one time in terms in India and Germany, to bring together outstanding young researchers of engineering and applied natural sciences. And the next one will be held in October, in early October and late September, I think, this year in Bremen. And we're looking forward to this next project of our collaboration very much. Thank you. And once again, thank you for having us. Sorry.
Thank you, Katya, for your nice presentation. So now we will move to the next presentation from Leibniz Association. Now we have Professor Patrick Kohler from Leibniz Association. He's the Vice President of the German Institute for Global and Area Studies, GIGA, Director of the GIGA Institute of Asian Studies, and Professor of Political Science at the University of Hamburg. He studied at the Universities of Constance and Essex and holds a doctorate and habilitation in political science from Humboldt University of Berlin and the University of Trier, respectively. His research interests revolve around political organizations and institutions in various parts of Asia and in comparative perspective. Recent publications include co-edited special issues on think tank developments in East Asia and on political transformation in Myanmar. The co-edited volumes comparative area studies, methodological rationales, and cross-regional applications, and from Asia-Pacific to Indo-Pacific, diplomacy in a contested region, and a journal article on changing China policies in Australia and New Zealand. Professor Kohler serves as chairman of the Hamburg Foundation Asia Bridge, as well as on various advisory boards, boards of trustees, and editorial boards. With this introduction, now I'll request Professor Patrick Kohler to give his presentation. Professor Kohler, please.
Right, thank you very much indeed. So greetings from the free and Hanseatic city of Hamburg, where the German Institute of Global and Area Studies is based. We are proud member of the Leibniz Association, and I have sort of the pleasure, but also sort of challenging task of representing the Leibniz Association today. It's a challenge because it is a pretty diverse sort of organization. We are one of the 4 pillars of non-university research in Germany, together with Helmholtz, Fraunhofer, and Max Planck. It is pretty diverse in the sense that it sort of comprises institutes sort of grounded in the humanities and the social sciences, including sort of economics and geography, but also natural sciences, the life sciences, and environmental research. So in total, some 97 members, including 8 research intensive museums, was a part of that association. And what we all share, I guess, as part of the Leibniz Association is a strong commitment to research-based knowledge transfer, very much reflecting the Leibniz motto of theoria cum praxi. So Leibniz as a whole also has a general budget of about 2 billion euros, including third-party funding, sort of employing 20,000 staff, including 12,000 researchers in Germany. Member institutes very much independent in terms of their research agendas in financial terms and legal terms, but also in terms of choosing their partners. And I've been told by the Secretariat of the Leibniz Association that about 20% of our member institutes collaborate with Indian partners. And also this week, there's both the Indo-German Research Day of the German House of Innovation, India, where sort of the Leibniz Association is represented, and we have a joint session where the directors of our research museums will be sort of convening this week. So just a few highlights of what Leibniz is doing with partners in India. two particular areas that I would like to mention. One is environmental research, and the other is regional studies, including social science-based area studies. So in environmental research, one of the most long-standing fields of cooperation is in the marine sciences. So, for example, within the framework of the International Climate Initiative and the Indo-German Biodiversity Program, the Leibniz Center for Tropical Marine Research in Bremen, that's the ZMT, is working with Indian partners on the conservation and sustainable management of marine protected areas. Another Leibniz Institute that uses the International Climate Research Framework to work with Indian partners is the well-known Potsdam Institute on Climate Research. And as part of an interdisciplinary capacity building project, a team is conducting research in the fields of climate, hydrology, agriculture, migration, and biodiversity. So I guess in India, the project's monsoon research has received particular attention. And I personally find it really fascinating that by way of using a forecasting method has been developed at the Potsdam Institute. And by means of that method, it's now possible to reliably predict the onset of the Indian summer monsoon in central India 40 days in advance. And also the retreat date of the monsoon can be predicted 70 days in advance. And obviously, these forecasts are able to help with the planning of the cultivation season and to serve to secure livelihoods. And these are just some examples of the work where our institutes then collaborate with Indian partners in terms of environmental research. Another example that relates then to my own home institution, the GIGA in Hamburg. We work and collaborate intensively with Indian partners. And at the Asian Studies Institute that I direct, we have, for example, an invitation program where we have invited numerous Indian scholars to Hamburg the past couple of years, and I'm personally very happy that a number of these have remained in the orbit of the Institute as associates or have returned as visiting fellows. So our main focus is very much on India's foreign relations and foreign policy, but also work we do on Indian security, climate, trade, social, and energy policy. A formal cooperation agreement we have had since 2010 with the Manohar Parrikar Institute for Defense Studies and Analyses in Delhi, and many of our colleagues have been to India on research visits. I should also mention, of course, our India-born and raised director, Professor Amrit. Now, Professor Nalikar is a non-resident senior fellow of the Observer Research Foundation, an adjunct senior fellow of the Research and Information System for Developing Countries Institute, an adjunct fellow of the Research and Distinguished International Fellow of the Indian Association of International Studies. She's serving as a PI in a number of third-party funded projects. And actually, very recently, on the occasion of this year's Republic Day, Prime Minister Narendra Modi sent her a personal letter to thank Professor Nalikar for devotion to India and acknowledging her work in international relations. Last but not least, I should mention that the GIGA is also a founding member of the Indo-German 1.5 track dialogue, which was launched in 2019 between the German Federal Foreign Office and the Indian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And actually, we'll convene with our Indian colleagues in that context this Thursday. So I guess that brings me to the end of my input, and I very much thank you for your attention. So back to the chair now.
Thank you, Dr. Patrick Koller, for your presentation. Now we'll move on to the next presentation. We have the two presentations more. We'll now have a presentation by the director, Dr. Katya Lash, Director, German Academic Exchange Service and German House of Innovation, TWIH in New Delhi. As I said, Dr. Lash is the Director of DAD Regional Office, New Delhi. She is responsible for the coordination and strategic development of the DAD activities in India, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, and Sri Lanka. The DAD awards grants and scholarship support and supports the internationalization of German universities, promotes German studies abroad, and advises decision makers in matters of education and development policy. Dr. Lash also heads the DWIH New Delhi and is responsible for its strategic management. The DWIH New Delhi connects the German and Indian research and innovation ecosystem. It is a platform for thematic exchange and networking. It provides information and advice on the research landscapes, funding opportunities, international research cooperation, and current developments in science policy. Prior to her work in India, Dr. Lash headed the DAAD's International Research Marketing Division at the head office in Bonn and the DAAD Information Center in Bucharest, Romania. During her tenure in Bonn, she was responsible for developing and implementing the marketing campaign research in Germany. Dr. Lash's professional focus and interest lie in the field of international university and research cooperation, science-based entrepreneurship, and marketing for higher education and research institutions. Dr. Katya Lash holds a doctorate in history and is also qualified in business administration. May I now request Dr. Lash to give a presentation? Katya,
yes, thank you, Dr. Reddy, for the nice presentation and introduction. I'm very glad to be a part of this meeting. Dear panelists, partners, and our colleagues, I just run through the list and I think I know 80% of the people. I'm glad to see you all to discuss the future of cooperation in science and technology. The initiative of the Indian government to commemorate 75 years of independence offers an occasion not just to look back on the long-standing Indo-German science and technology cooperation, but also offers the opportunity to look forward. I would like to congratulate again the Embassy for taking the initiative to discuss the future steps of international cooperation. We've heard today a lot about activities, funding schemes, and joint projects, and all these are presenting and highlighting the importance and the relevance of the Indo-German partnership. One thing I would like to add is that currently 18 German research organizations, universities, funding bodies, and research-based companies are present and are working together under the umbrella of the German Center for Research and Innovation. 14 out of them are having an office in India, and that showcases the importance the research community is giving to India. The German Center for Research and Innovation, New Delhi, connects the German and Indian research and innovation ecosystem, and we are a platform for thematic exchange and networking. We are an initiative of the German Federal Foreign Office, and DWH is managed by the German Academic Exchange Service. In the following minutes, I would like to raise 5 points on the future of collaboration, feeding in the experiences from the DWH as well as the DAD, who is managing the center. First point is cooperation and co-creation. International research cooperation builds on trustful partners and networks. And we have seen the long-standing academic and research cooperation between India and Germany, which build a sound fundament. And I would like to highlight the numerous co-funded programs which ensure a cooperation on eye level and the joint definition as well as the joint support of topics of common interest, and this should be definitely continued. In the DWH context, we follow this approach and develop our activities in the co-creation formats. Already in the phase of project and event design, we are working together with our partners in India and Germany, for instance, in brainstorming sessions, and decide topics, themes for upcoming activities together. And I think this is an approach we should follow further and also continue to follow in the research funding mechanisms. Second point is enlarging the network of participating institutions and scientists. The Indo-German cooperation is based on a strong, but given the size of the Indian as well as the German research landscape, still limited network. What we see is a set of institutions and researchers who are very successful in implementing projects and acquiring funds. They are, for sure, the drivers of the Indo-German research cooperation. Nevertheless, a systematic extension of this network in Germany and India without compromising on the quality would add value to the Indo-German science and technology cooperation. Against this background, the DWH is continuously onboarding and integrating its activities besides the well-known partners, new institutions and networks, as well as scientists. And just to give you a number, in the last year, we had 127 speakers on our events. A good example for this is the Indo-German Research Day, which will take place in 2 days. So in this meet, where we will discuss open access, gender equality in research and science communication. And we have a lot of the partners on board for this very important day this week. We also learned that the digital formats implemented over the last 2 years can support in enlarging the networks. Whereas in on-site formats, for instance, the German participation in India is often limited to speakers and presenters, the online events enable researchers from Germany to also participate in the audience. And furthermore, we can reach out to researchers all over India who might not be able to come to Delhi or the other important cities where we are running our activities. Third point is ensure the usage of the existing funding mechanisms by multiple players. The Indo-German Science and Technology Cooperation is funded by several bodies, and we have seen this today, and institutions offering different mechanisms for project funding. It should be ensured that the research institution and researchers are aware of the funding mechanisms and are using them properly. Therefore, bundled and curated information is necessary. As the DBH serves as a gateway to boost the systems, we have taken a new project forward and will extend our information over in April. The new website Connecting, which we launched in April, allows funding bodies and other institutions from both the countries to upload their offers for research funding and cooperation. Furthermore, research projects can be uploaded with their basic information, and they will be integrated in an interactive map of the Indo-German Research Cooperation. We hope that this interactive approach will provide a central overview, serve as a nodal point for information, and will contribute to raise the awareness of the manifold opportunities available. My fourth point would be an integrated approach. The German Center for Research and Innovation unites under one roof universities, funding bodies, non-university research, but also the industrial research. It's open for all research fields, reaching from fundamental to applied research and innovation, and in all the activities we try to integrate a multilateral and multidisciplinary perspective. We've seen over the last 10 years that this integrated approach adds value and benefit and could be extended into a larger perspective. So when talking about science and technology cooperation, one should integrate higher education institutions, and I'm missing them here today, non-university research institutions and technology transfer institutions, and a lot of other players. One idea to take the science and technology and innovation cooperation a step further could be a mapping and roadmap process with the aim to define future strategic areas of cooperation and identifying gaps in the cooperation system with our Indian partners together. My last point is focus on new research fields, future topics and areas, or as we would say in German, Zukunftsthemen. As well as India as Germany have defined research topics of importance and strategic missions. In the intergovernmental consultation, topics of common interest have been identified as well. By taking the Indo-German cooperation forward, one should focus on new research areas without leaving the areas where we have a strong cooperation behind, such areas being, for instance, chemistry. As DWIH, we intend to run design thinking workshops for postdoctoral research in order to identify future-oriented topics for cooperation. Furthermore, we are working currently on 2 projects in order to intensify the cooperation in the field of science-based entrepreneurship and SME technology cooperation, onboarding the innovation fields into our activities. So we are looking forward, together with our supporter institutions and partners, to continue the support to the Indo-German Research Cooperation with our communication activities and curated information on the Indian and German research innovation ecosystem. We hope that with a mix of showcase and focus events to raise the awareness of the manifold opportunities, enable focused discussion on future-oriented topics, take the science policy discourse forwards, and connect researchers, scientists, and last but not least, entrepreneurs. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Katya, for your presentation. You will be visiting, you'll be meeting the education sector day after tomorrow, so we hope to see you there. So thank you. We'll now have the last presentation, not last but not the least. We have Dr. Ruth Narman, who is the Deputy Head of International Relations, Leopoldina German National Academy of Sciences. She coordinates the Asia desk of the Academy and Leopoldina's involvement with international organizations and United Nations. Dr. Norman is also engaged in the National Academy's activities to promote policy advice to the annual G7 and G20 summits. Before joining Leopoldina, Dr. Norman gained extensive experience in international science and research management, example at the German Research Foundation. Dr. Norman studied Chinese studies, American studies, and speech communication and rhetoric at the University of Tübingen in Germany, National Political University Taipei, and Yale University, New Haven. She received her PhD from the University of Tübingen in Germany. May I now request Dr. Ruth Narman to make her presentation.
Thank you, Madhu, and namaskar to everyone. Good afternoon, and congratulations for 75 years of independence, and a big thank you for the Embassy for organizing this event. Now, let me share my screen, and I hope this works. Can you actually see them now? So you should be able to see them now, I hope. Yes, okay.
We are able to see now. You can put it in the presentation mode and you can start.
So I will do that. Here we go. Okay. So the Leopoldina is the the worldwide oldest science academy existing without interruption. It was founded in 1652, and thus it's, for example, older than the Royal Society. They keep forgetting about that. We have members from all over the world, and that includes also members from India. So our cooperation with India is already inherent in our structure, so to speak. Examples or some members from India are, for example, Dorai Rajan Balasubramanian from Hyderabad, who I know has been very essential in popularizing science by writing, for example, columns in the Times of India. Or Raghavendra Gadakar, who's an evolutionary biologist from Bangalore, who was president of the Indian National Science Academy.
Ja, guten Tag, Herr Mengen, Steffen Mehlich im Apparat. Herr Mengen, ich hatte ja schon einige Male angerufen, Sie aber nicht erreichen
Herr
können.
Mehlich, könnten Sie bitte
Ich bin
stillschalten?
gespannt.
Dankeschön. Okay. We have, as National Academy, the mandate to represent Germany's science internationally, and we also do provide independent science-based advice to the government and policymakers on key issues in all fields of science, and we do so nationally and internationally. We also have, of course, the agenda of a classical scholarly society, like conducting symposia or conferring prizes, or also furthering young scientists. In international relations, it is 3 goals that we follow. One is promoting excellent science and scientific cooperation all over the world. Second is that we provide science-based policy advice. And the third is that we engage in science diplomacy activities. We do this with international networks, but we also do this with esteemed international partners. Basically, we're open for cooperation with partners from all over the world, but we have a network of strategic partners. And INSA, the Indian National Science Academy, is on top of the list for the very reason that INSA was the first academy that we've ever signed a memorandum of understanding with. That was signed originally in 2007 and has ever since been renewed every 5 years. And we will, by the end of this year, again, be happy to renew this cooperation agreement. Our work with India includes conducting joint symposia, either in Germany or in India. So you can see some pictures of examples here. We have conducted the Challenge to Learn, for example, in Hyderabad. We conducted a symposium on nanoscience in Halle in 2013. We had symposia on neuroscience. Actually, that was a series of symposia that we conducted with Indian partners, which has been quite successful. And we will continue to do these symposia in both countries. Another joint goal of ours, of INSA and Leopoldina, is to bring science to the public. For this, we have started the Leopoldina INSA lecture series. Below, you will see pictures of Raghavendra Gadakar, whom I've mentioned before, giving a lecture in Halle, or Ajay Kumar Sood, the former president of INSA. And this lecture has actually been very relevant for today's session, I think, because we did it in cooperation with the Indian Embassy, and we are very happy to continue doing so in the future. Because of the pandemic, we have started to also experiment and now establish virtual formats like our Leopoldina International Virtual Panel Series, which we also conduct with our partner, for example, with INSA. As a matter of fact, our most successful event in this series, and we have done like 10 to 15 so far, our most successful event was done with INSA. It was in February last year on the COVID-19 vaccination, and we had more than 300 participants from more than 60 countries. Last but not least, what we do together with INSA is providing science policy advice. We do this within networks like the Inter-Academy Partnership, but the most prominent format that we have is the Science 20 format, in which we provide input to the heads of state and government of the G20 countries. In 2017, that format was established in Germany for the first time on the request of then Chancellor Merkel. And next year, in 2023, India will be heading or will be hosting the G7. So INSA will be in charge of coordinating this policy advice activity, and we're really looking forward to working with them in 2023. What will come next? For both our academies, we place high emphasis on promoting basic science and the cooperation therein, which is why we will continue with our symposia, for example, say, in the topics of health, climate change, or SDGs. But we will also continue doing topics like nanomaterials, for example, or nanoscience. Another aspect that we really cherish as national academies and that we think is our task is to boost visibility and outreach. So we will continue with the lecture series and also, of course, with the virtual formats. And then the big thing for next year, as I mentioned, will be providing policy advice for the G20. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ruth, for your presentation. May I now request Dr. S.K. Vashni to take this discussion further.
Madhu, I think it's a very, very nice discussions. Lot of new ideas, and I think each one of us has something or the other to offer on the table. Of course, some of us are already actively involved, and we require some cooperations, some new cooperations to be built upon. So I think I would now like to leave the floor open, and anybody who would like to express wish list may raise the hand electronically so that I can invite them, and then we can collate all those suggestions which our embassy in Berlin would be too happy to further work upon. But right now we can have some ideas from all of you. And I know some of us have left already because meeting has gone beyond the scheduled time. But quickly, if you could share your ideas, please raise your hand electronically. Who would like to go first? Madan?
It was a thank you, Madhu. Thank you, Vashne. It was a really engaging afternoon for me. I think so many perspectives from so many Indo-German stakeholders. And I think the key point takeaway for me is we have to have teamwork among the stakeholders if we want this cooperation to go further. So I'm happy that I'm seeing new faces and many faces who I've seen earlier. I'm happy to see Patrick from Leibniz, all new faces, but I think we should get familiar because we are finally stakeholders of Indo-German cooperation. I can see Pradeep from the fair and all, and this is one issue. I just had one suggestion, Vashniji. This one of the issues, there are many challenges we face in Indo-German cooperation. One of them is also we are going to have in future a lot of researchers, academicians traveling across borders from India to Germany and Germany to India. I would suggest at some point of time also involve the consulates, German consulates, to be a part or attend such programs so that they are aware that there is so much going on between the two countries in science and technology. Most of them are from the Foreign Office. I understand they're busy, but I think if they put a year to this and know what's happening, they will appreciate the travel of academicians and researchers and students for science and technology between the two countries. Yeah, this is just what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Madan. In fact, normally that is a part of practice that any document, any new arrangement, what we are doing, we are informing the respective embassy. But still, a word for Madhu and Philip, that you can keep your consul office fully informed about various specific activities that have been identified as a joint cooperation. And also, if possible, try to include them maybe for a short time for a summary discussions on what is going on as a scientific cooperation, and the flow should be smooth and it should not get held up.
Yeah, just one more point that IGSTC is open for collaboration and extramural funds from other agencies other than DST and BMBF. So we are ready to talk with others, and we want to go as a team. We will be happy to work as a team to make things simpler for the collaboration, for the researchers to collaborate with each other. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Madan. I think in my remark also I mentioned this thing that all the organizations who would like to use the platform of the Indo-German Science and Technology Center are most welcome to make use of this opportunity. And center would be too glad to provide any Indo-German scientific connections or Indo-German technology connections, and they would be too happy to act as a facilitator from two sides. So they have good presence in India and good presence in Germany. They understand two systems and would be too glad to take it forward. Any other person who would like to raise hand? Or maybe if I have to invite Ruth, could I ask you to suggest that how you feel that your organization, Leopoldina, would go forward, and have you identified any potential Indian partners, and how do you think we can work in future?
Well, for us, the natural partner is the Indian National Science Academy. And of course, we will continue to work with them. And as I said, for us, a major emphasis is laid on promoting basic science. We are open for many topics, but I think health will be a major topic for us. It has always played a major role, and I think considering the pandemic, it should rank high on our agenda also in the future. The other initiative for us is really promoting the visibility of science, promoting the visibility of excellent Indian science in Germany, but also of bringing German researchers to India, even in fields where initially I have people asking me why they should travel, and my reaction or my experience has been that very often after having spent some time in India, they're extremely excited, and they will work with Indian partners. So this is what we see our task in, to really promote science cooperation. And of course, the science-based policy advice for us as academies is a major initiative also for the future.
Thank you, Ruth. Dr. Mehra, the Vice President for International Affairs of Indian National Science Academy, is not on this call, but I'll convey him your message about this proposal. But I would suggest you to explore IGSTC. Madan is here. When you are saying that you would like to develop programs on visibility of science in India, and I think Madan would be too happy to work on that. And of course, we have already launched some paid fellowship and industrial fellowships. So idea is that young researchers should know the research ambience in both the countries. And Madan, if you can take lead and have a word with Ruth in future, probably that could be. As far as policy is concerned, I think that is with the Department of Science and Technology in our country. And any policy dialogue, we would be too happy to take you forward. So we have a group here which is exclusively working, and I hope you are aware that India is working on a new science, technology, and innovation policy, and a lot of new ideas we are trying to bring in. Maybe separately, if I could organize a meeting with the policy group, that would be in the fitness, and I'll request Madhu to make note of it, and we can plan in this direction, and we could learn from each other's experience, because our policy is still in the draft stage right now. Due considerations have been made, and it is with the cabinet for consideration of approval. So, but nevertheless, we can still share, and what exercise we did in last 2 years to improve upon previous policy, that we could share with you. And
Thank you very much. That would be highly interesting. And I would love to work with Matan again, whom I know well from Germany.
Great, lovely. Pradeep.
Unmute yourself, Pradeep. Unmute and then speak.
Am I audible now?
Can you hear me now? Yeah.
Sarisa, I have requested Pradeep actually because he raised hand. I'll invite you immediately after him.
No, perfectly all right. I don't have any specific comments to make. Thank you.
Yeah, please, Pradeep, go ahead.
So first of all, I would really like to thank you for the organizing this event and also the discussion. It is really very interesting to see and also understand more opportunities about how India and Germany could participate. I have to first of all also thank IGST chair here, Mr. Madan. And we have been the beneficiary of the first industrial fellowships. Already FAIR has received 2. And I would like to stress that because of these 2 industrial fellowships, we have now taken a step to, within our bilateral programs, we have already contacted those institutes to pursue further collaboration into nuclear physics and also for accelerator technology. And this has been also the help from the science counselor, Mr. Madhusudan Nandineni, also supported us into this to work ahead. So I would just spread the word that the new programs, Wiser for women and also the paired research options are really very interesting to develop those parity. And if I could propose one thing that I would definitely would propose is about this. There are a lot of accelerator centers in India which are working at the lower energy and at different forms in the university. And I won't only talk about the university. We are working very closely with RRCAT in Indore. And we would be very happy if FAIR could be involved to support training of young people who are in future needed to work on those experiments and research activities at the accelerator facilities in India. If this is of any interest of DST and also BMBF, and I think IGSTC, we are exploring opportunities directly to work at the scientist level. We will be very happy to support this idea and also take young people to train them to work on LINAC, so linear accelerators and circular accelerators, namely cyclotron and synchrotron radiation. That's it.
Thanks, Pradeep, for those remarks, and we have noted your offer. But we need to understand this offer comes on gratis basis, or if there are some charges, because as you know, as a partner country, we have got some obligations mutually on FAIR and India. So if there are something beyond that, we would be too interested. And of course, we would love to connect a number of university to the FAIR project so that beneficiaries could come from both DAE and non-DAE families. So looking forward for that. So if there are any specific suggestion, you can always write to me or to my colleague Gaurav. I hope you know him. So we are there for you. Thank you. Dr. Sandeep, please.
Thank you, Dr. Vaishnav. No specific comments. We have a very successful and old collaboration with Germany with both organizations, BMBF as well as DFG. And even on this coming Friday, I believe Dr. Philip and Dr. Stephen Roche, Minister, is visiting DBT for a further discussion with Secretary DBT for further collaborations. Thank you.
Great. So all the best, and we hope that you have some more business for you. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. There is a person who is logged in as a number. I don't know the name, so please unmute yourself and come forward. It's 2741 544 1552. Please.
Is it me?
Yes, you are right.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I am Shri from Leipzig, and we have recently started a startup on quantum computing based in Leipzig. So I would like to know more about how to take up the startup linkage between industry linkage between India and Germany? Can there be a session to have more details on this?
I am not very confident if we do have any such program right now where we are connecting with the entrepreneurs. But this morning, we have been provided a connect by the German embassy in Delhi on which we are working. But in the meanwhile, I'll request you to get in touch with Dr. Anita Gupta. She is the head of our entrepreneurship program in the Department of Science and Technology. And she would be too happy to develop synergies, how we could work together.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Any other person?
Katya Lash has raised.
Yeah, Katya, please.
I would like to mention that we are working on entrepreneurship in startups together with the accelerator in GINSEP. So please touch base with me. I post my email in the chat. So we are currently developing together with leading Indian incubators like C-Camp, T-Hub in Hyderabad, and incubators in Germany programs to support also startups. I don't see the name, but the person who just raised the question would like to highlight that there's a lot of ongoing activities from the German side, and we are trying to combine these activities at the moment together.
Thanks, Katya, and pardon for my ignorance. Yeah, Anand.
Thank you, sir. I would also like to request Sri that we will also be happy to discuss further. You can write to us as well, and we can currently connect you further for this. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Anyone else? Maybe I request Madhu to sum it up because we are already getting late. So, yeah, Madhu, if you could sum it up.
Thank you. I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone for their time and for their presentations and for contributing to this discussion and coming up with various proposals. I would like to thank Ambassador Parvataneni Harish, Professor Sivari Chandrasekhar, Secretary DST, Dr. Vashni, Head International Cooperation Division, Mr. Philip von Ritter, Consular German Embassy in Delhi, Dr. Sandeep Sareen, Scientist G, Department of Biotechnology, Dr. Ulrike Wolters from BMBF, Dr. Mukesh Kumar, Head International Health Division from ICMR, Dr. Kuzman, Deputy Head DFG, Mr. Madan, Director IGSTC, Mr. Felix Kale, Head of Division International Relations, Max Planck Society. I would like to thank Dr. Mohit Prasad, Principal Scientist, CSIR, and Dr. Alexandra from Helmholtz Association, Dr. Stefan Meilish from Alexander von Humboldt Foundation, Dr. Katya Lash from German DWA, German House of Innovation, Dr. Ruth Narvan from Leopoldina. And I would like to thank each and everyone once again, and I look forward to receiving your suggestions in future and also to increase this S&T cooperation between India and Germany. I'd like to thank everyone once again and have a nice day. Can we have one, if you all can start your cameras, can I have one screenshot so that all of you can start your video cams? I will just take a screenshot. Yeah, Shibashish, I think, has not. So, yeah, some more are still there. So, Dr. Abhishek Verma. I'll just take cheese. One more. So, thank you and have a nice day. And I look forward to receiving your cooperation in future as well. Thank you very much.
Namaskar and goodbye.
Namaskar and bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.